One time, Michael Jordan almost killed me.
Okay.
I was at a Tucson Toros game, which is the minor league baseball team, and they were playing the Chicago Barons that he was a part of when he was playing baseball. And I just got out of my seat when he hit a line drive right into the chair I was sitting at.
Oh, wow.
And I would have got creamed.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
would have been nice, though. You could be like, Michael Jordan killed me.
You can tell people that Michael Jordan killed you.
Why is half your skull missing, Justin?
Yeah, they have to put on your epitaph.
It's time for the Cinemassacre Podcast. Every Tuesday, the guys behind Cinemassacre talk about movies, games, music, their lives, and all the behind-the-scenes crap that goes into making videos. It's the off-the-cuff banter from rental reviews mixed with an AVGN panel. And now, the hosts with the most. James, Kieran, and Justin. All right, boys, let's rock.
All right, we're back. Hope you enjoyed that nerd episode, The Rocketeer.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with that one, especially the rocket beer. That was an idea you gave me. I was like, oh, yes, I'm using that for sure.
Yeah, because I was like, you know what rhymes with Rocketeer? Rocket beer.
Well, it makes
Of
sense.
course.
The movie, the rocket actually runs on alcohol.
Right.
That detail I forgot about.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, there was going to be an idea in there that someone came up with about gum, where, in the movie, he puts the gum on the rocket pack. Yeah. But in the episode, it didn't really work out. That's how he defeats the villain at the end. He takes the gum back off, so the jet just explodes or whatever.
Right.
I never watched The Rocketeer until we filmed this.
What'd you think?
Oh, it was pretty good, but the thing is, like, compared to, I guess it was supposed to be the next Batman. It was like another comic book type movie.
Yeah.
It's an hour and a half of a guy flying around like a moron and fucking up constantly.
That's what I liked about it, the clumsiness of it, because when he first gets the jetpack, they don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
And they're just like trying to figure it. And they put on the dummy at one point, and the dummy.
Oh, yeah, the statue that they saw or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like a crash dummy, basically. And
that's the thing is, I don't think, when they first get it, they don't know how to use it. I don't think they ever learn how to use it. They're like, I don't think he ever flies that thing normally or well. He just is bumping into shit the entire movie. Even when he flies onto the Zeppelin at the end, it looks like he just luckily made it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what makes it so appealing is that the hero is not very skilled or anything. It's just sort of like, it's like, some of the greatest superheroes are ones that just, they don't expect it. It's just something that happens, and then they do the best they can with it and try to, use it for a good cause.
It's kind of like the opposite of like Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Like where Iron Man is like, we get a montage of him being sucky.
Right.
And not
then
knowing
he's good.
And then he's good when he flies and everything.
Then
But
the Howard Hughes character in it is kind of like
he's like
Tony Stark.
Tony Stark's dad, Anthony or Howard Stark, is based on Howard Hughes, like Howard Stark,
Right.
So it's like
it's like a Howard Hughes meets Walt Disney kind of thing.
And I mean, you see most of that in the second Iron Man movie, I guess, which we won't get into those, but because I'll talk all day about Marvel movies.
All right, it's that time again. So if you don't remember, this part of the podcast is What You Doing? What have you been doing, James?
What have I been doing?
You watching anything?
Working on videos, but you're talking about what you're watching.
Yeah.
Recently, I watched both Space Jam movies for the first time ever.
You never saw the first one?
Never, no.
Whoa.
I don't know why. I think, when did that come out?
94, 95?
95, yeah.
Yeah, around then.
I'm not sure what it was. Like, I thought maybe it was like a kid's movie or something because it was cartoons. I mean, I liked Looney Tunes, but at that point, I was probably like moving on to other things. And it was like very basketball themed, and I'm not like a sports guy. So I didn't really know what to make of it. It was like, cartoons, sports, and like aliens, which I should have liked.
And Bill Murray.
And Bill Murray.
How old were you when it came out? Like 14?
I mean, I must have been 14.
I was like 8 or 9, I think.
Okay.
I was pretty... So I think it was like that movie was aimed towards kids at the time.
Yeah. And now that I have kids, I showed it to them. So that's how it started, because I think one of my kids wanted to see Space Jam, and I was like, okay, yeah, I've never actually seen that. I should, watch it. and it was way better than I thought it was.
Yeah.
The first one?
Yeah, I mean, both of them were good. The first one, like it was just, I mean, the animation was pretty good. Yeah, so it was a mixed style of like, live action and animation. And the big third act of this movie is this epic basketball game. And it's just like, like the old school Looney Tunes and even like the Disney cartoons, like, when Goofy would have those like hockey games and everything, and it was all crazy. This was like, it kind of reminded me of that game NBA Jam a little bit, where they're like breaking the backboard and stuff.
Boom,
like this,
shakalaka.
yeah, like balls on fire and stuff. Like this was just like the craziest basketball game I've ever seen in a movie, and it was great. I was really impressed with it, and I can't believe I've never seen it. And then Space Jam 2 was really good too, because they had the live action, then they had sort of like old school animation, but then they had CG animation. And then in the basketball game at the end, they're doing what everybody's doing now. They took every Warner Brothers property, so the whole audience is just a crowd of cameos.
Wow.
And it's like you see like people from Clockwork Orange, and then like random things that aren't even kids movies.
Like
Yeah.
Malcolm
It's just-
McDowell is there and stuff
Yeah.
watching a basketball game.
yeah, exactly. And then there's like both Batmans. Like there's the old Joker, and then there's the newer Joker. Like what I mean is like the '60s villains. There's like the old Penguin, and then there's the Danny DeVito Penguin, and they're all just kind of mixed in with this crowd. And it was so much fun pointing out the cameos. And every time I'd see one, I'd like shout it out, and my daughter would be like, "Dad, you've seen like every movie, haven't you?"
Yeah, it's very like Ready Player One in that regard.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like,
Oh, King Kong was in that too, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of like a HBO Max, Warner Brothers, because they had like the Mad Max Fury Road scene and the old Superman cartoon stuff in it and whatever. I haven't seen it yet, but I saw that like YouTube clips of it. But I don't know if I will watch it, number 2. But the first one's fun.
Oh, they got Michael Jordan in it, except they got Michael B. Jordan, the actor.
Oh, they
That's
make a joke.
funny. Yeah.
It's really funny because he walks in and you think it's going to be, Michael Jordan, the basketball player, and they build up to it, and they're like, what is this? This is the wrong Michael Jordan. And, Daffy Duck says, you couldn't get Michael A. Jordan, you got Michael B. Jordan.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And he's just there like, awkward, like, okay, like, what am I doing here?
That's funny.
Yeah.
One time Michael Jordan almost killed me.
Okay.
I was at a Tucson Toros game, which is the minor league baseball team, and they were playing the Chicago Barons that he was a part of when he was playing baseball. And I just got out of my seat when he hit a line drive right into the chair I was sitting at.
Oh, wow.
And I would have got creamed.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
would have been nice, though. You could be like, Michael Jordan killed me.
You can tell people that Michael Jordan killed you.
Why is half your skull missing, Justin?
Yeah, they have to put on your epitaph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan killed
Michael Jordan killed
Michael
me.
A. Jordan killed me. Yeah. All right, Karen, what have you been doing? What you watching, playing, anything?
I was playing some games, but I guess my what you playing ain't that fun. But I started. I was playing the Outer Worlds, which is I'm a big fan of the Fallout. The not the original Fallouts. I never really played those, but
1 and
3
2,
and New Vegas, and I liked 4. And I decided to play the Outer Worlds, which is made by Obsidian, who are the guys who made Fallout New Vegas. And I love New Vegas. I was super psyched to try it. And I played about 3 hours of it, and I decided to never ever play it again.
Oh, you're out.
Yeah, I'm so done with it. It just kind of sucks. I hope I'm not hurting any feelings, but I was really expecting like something along the lines of New Vegas or even Fallout 4. Fallout 4 was awesome, I thought. But this game really just completely fell flat. Every single thing about it. I spent a good 3 to 4 hours playing it one night. I have the Xbox Game Pass, so I downloaded it for free, thank God, or for $15 a month or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I played it, and I'm never going to play it ever again.
Okay.
There you go.
That's about it. That's what I was playing.
So you brought up something, but it's something you didn't like.
It was I tried. I mean, I've been playing like the Resident Evil games. I always play those. I played Resident Evil 2 again. I played like the remake of Resident Evil 2. I played Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8 again. And then I wanted something more long lasting. And I went immediately back from Outer Worlds to Fallout 3, which I think I said I was playing the last 2 podcasts ago or whatever. And I'm back on Fallout 3. I'm playing a game from 2008 or whatever over a game from 2018 or something. I'd rather play a 10-year-old game than a,
Yeah,
than a game that came out now.
30, 40-year-old games.
I'm a more modern game. I like new games.
Yeah, I did play Fall Guys a lot last year.
Yeah,
because you can pretty much just start that game and just jump into it. And
I got that. Yeah. I got Fall Guys on PlayStation for free, and I played it a good amount. I had a good time playing that.
For someone who really likes like MXC, Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, and Takeshi's Challenge and all that, like Takeshi's Castle
and all
Ninja
that. Warrior.
Yeah, like it's like the same thing, but it's like fun. You're
Obstacle
like
courses.
You know what I showed my kid, my older kid the other day, was Goat Simulator. Because it's not it's not too overly violent or anything like that. It's so silly, you know. She thought it was hilarious, like especially when the goat is like bouncing on the trampoline and doing all this stuff.
That was a game you and Mike and Alpha were playing a long time ago.
Yeah. That's a game that's just made to be as ridiculous as possible. Like it has no other purpose than to just be the stupidest game imaginable.
I got into that one. You and Mike played it one time, The Amazing Frog.
Oh,
you're just the
that
frogs
was
that
weird.
bounce on trampolines and stuff. I got into that when it was on the Ouya.
Okay.
And it was like early access. It was a $5 game, and they released the PC version, and they are always updating it, and it's gotten so much crazier. The world that you can go into, they walled off parts, and you have to actually figure your way out to get out of the town that you're in, and it takes place actually in the town where the guy developed the game. It's in Swindon. It's really fun. Amazing
That's
Frog.
funny.
It's on Steam for like $5, but
Yeah.
what are you doing, Justin?
What am I doing? As always, I'm collecting Gengars. I probably have the world's largest collection at this point, as you might have seen in the one video we did on Cinemassacre of me and Mike doing a room tour. But I just got this one, who's very exciting. Hold on.
Is Mike still trapped in your little terrarium or whatever? Is he
Yes.
still there?
That's why he's not here anymore.
That's why. Yeah.
All right, here it is.
Wow.
This might mess up the camera. James is completely blocked now, but that's probably fine. This is the Gengar who absolutely wants to be licked. That's what it's called. And it is
That's the
it's a bed.
official name for it?
Yeah.
Who absolutely wants to be.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Knock your drink over. There you go.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. I don't have any drink left. I finished my coffee. That's what I
So this is in all the promotional material, it's like a salaryman in Japan who's like sleeping on it, because you can put your head in here and be blocked by the light, and it's like a little sleeping thing.
My kids would like that too.
This is for grown children only.
They like all these props that we end up with. Like, for the Echo the Dolphin episode, we had that big dolphin.
Yeah.
They saw me bringing it in, and they were like, they wanted it. So after the episode was done, I just gave
After you
it to
took a
them.
dump and it's blowhole.
Yeah, they'll never know. Well, maybe one day they'll know what it was used for.
It was spitting out diarrhea.
Yeah, that was hilarious, by the way. There was also the Darkman episode that had that pink elephant. So they got that too. So every time we write in a stuffed animal, they end up in it.
If you please.
Yeah.
Those are props.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have a case of Rolling Rock from that Echo.
We had a ton of Rolling Rock.
Yeah, I remember when we went to the factory and everything that day to pick up the kegs and everything. We drove
Those
to a
kegs,
Rolling Rock factory.
Those kegs, let me tell you, I wanted to fill the keg up with water or something to make it look like beer, because they were empty. They were empty kegs, but I wanted to pour it out, and I couldn't figure out any way to get liquid inside of the keg. So I'm just trying to
and I'm like, don't.
Well, I found out the hard way. I'm trying to I'm using screwdrivers and stuff to just bang this keg open so that I can get a hole in it somewhere to just fill it up, right? Well, after I got sprayed with whatever was left inside of it of your beer, I realized there's a message on it that says, like, warning, do not try to open this or puncture it in any way. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's not like an old beer barrel, like root beer tapper. It's a fucking pressurized metal.
Well, there was I think there was a Mythbusters about that where like they shot a keg with a gun and it blew up. Like,
oh boy!
Like
I mean,
shot into the air pretty much.
Wow. I mean, nothing like dangerous happened, but it was just that I got just sprayed.
You told me that. I'm like, oh my god, good thing you didn't die. Like, holy shit. Yeah, but pretty much I contacted the Rolling Rock company and they sent me over to a local distributor and we went down there and a guy came out with a forklift and gave us a bunch of kegs and a bunch of free beer.
Yeah.
Because we're like, oh, we're just going to put it in a hot tub and pretend it's like a pool full of beer. And they're like, okay.
Yeah, they were totally like, the guy was like a little bit like, merp, but they were, I think, pretty awesome about it, to be honest.
And I love those shots. That's probably my favorite thing from the 2020 episodes when you're in the pool, which you made yellow.
It's the only underwater shot we've done so far. Yeah. Which was tough because you kind of forget that when you're underwater, you need to hold your breath. But I'm doing the complete opposite of holding my breath. I'm screaming fuck underwater.
That came out way funnier than I thought it would too. Like the sound of it was great.
I like the editing. I like the touch you added to it where like when I'm under the water and you hear it all like muffled from the outside.
Yeah. I like when it's like you're screaming and it goes from like all this like screaming and then it's just you drinking underwater.
Drinking a beer
like, under the water. That was my favorite part. I would just go silent for a second, then back to screaming.
Yeah. And that was the real audio. You actually used the real underwater audio.
Yeah, it actually sounded like loud enough.
Yeah, because I also did an ADR. I like gargled some water, just try to do like an underwater kind of voice. But I think you guys just decided that the actual underwater voice sounded better.
Yeah, it was loud enough that like we were able to get it. It was. It
sounded fine to me, so I was like, okay, cool.
Like
leave it.
Recorded on like a GoPro or whatever.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it was like a GoPro with like and I guess it had like an underwater shell around it. Yeah. It was nothing too expensive. It was, kind of a cheap.
And then the next nerd episode, which we won't bring up yet because it has not come out yet, we have a first ever shot as well, like the underwater. So that's going to be pretty awesome, but I don't want to spoil it.
That's one we've been talking about for a while.
Yeah, there's that one. And then the last one I want to do, like the shots I always wanted to get, it's having an actual buffalo take a diarrhea dump on a game. Yeah. And I contacted a few buffalo farms, like meat farms and like Native American places that have buffalo and stuff, and like ranches, and they're like, what? Yeah. And I'm like, I just need a buffalo to shit on a game. In fact, I can film the buffalo shitting and we can like fake it, like but we need to do it. And they're just like, what?
You know what? I mean, in that case, you could probably just get stock footage of a buffalo shitting, maybe. But the idea, I think it started with when to actually have a buffalo shit in my ear. We thought about it, and I think it just turned out that when we got into the details of it, it would actually be too dangerous to really do.
Well, there's a few things. One, I don't know how we can give a buffalo diarrhea.
Well,
because they eat like roughage and stuff. It comes out like clumpy, like you know. Yeah. So that
not to mention
that'll hurt the buffalo.
Yeah, not to mention how long you'd have to wait for like the luckiest shot ever.
Two, you're going to be laying on your side.
Yeah,
and what's the buffalo might sit on your head. It might kick you.
I could be killed. So we're not going to do it.
Charge first. Aren't buffalo like angry beasts that just like? Aren't they like bulls?
No.
But they have giant heads.
I don't know.
All the buffaloes I've seen in person have been pretty chill.
Yeah,
they just kind of sit around and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So we definitely can't get a buffalo to shit in your ear.
Yeah, and I would be wearing an earplug for it.
Yeah. I mean, we could fake that, of course. Like you're laying on your side and
why
whatever.
Was it a buffalo
it wouldn't be
to begin with? Why buffalo? Why was that the animal you chose?
Why is it the animal I chose? Why is anything? It's just
it's where the buffalo roam.
Where the buffalo shit runs.
Yeah. Where the buffalo shit runs.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. All these things were just random animal. I find it funnier the more random the animal is.
I can understand like road-killed skunk because you smell a road-killed skunk when you're miles away from it, So I can understand why, like, I'd rather eat the ass of a road-killed skunk. That's awful.
Yeah.
But it's like, why a buffalo? Like, out of
you
all
know
the
where-
animals that could take a diarrhea
Okay.
dump, I guess.
You know, there actually is an answer. It's not a very funny answer, but basically, one time there was this beer called Schmitz.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It still exists. Okay, but it was really cheap from what I remember, and some of my friends. This was like early college or something. Like for whatever reason, we were hanging out in the woods, and we were bringing beer with us, and we got the cheapest beer we could find. Like literally, went into the store and just got whatever was the cheapest one we saw there, and it was Schmitz. And it has a picture of a buffalo on it for whatever reason.
Okay.
And one of my friends was like, you know what? This Schmitz tastes like shits. And then I was like, yeah, it's probably shit from that actual buffalo on the
And it just
label.
stuck.
I guess it's stuck. I mean, because sometimes certain things like that, if you get a little laugh out of something, you remember it, and then you sort of evolve it into a joke. I mean, that's probably how comedians work a lot, is just they take things from real life experiences and like,
Yeah.
what did people laugh at? A lot of the things I would say in the videos, like shitload of fuck, were just things I made up when I was playing games with friends and stuff. Because like the weirdest stuff that comes out of my mouth, just the weirdest combination of words, happens when I play video games, or when I used to play games at least. So some of those things would stick. Or it's like, hey, if my friends thought this was funny, let me try it for a wider audience, see what happens.
Yeah.
Something fun, I just realized that someone might watch this video, have never even heard of Cinemassacre, the Angry Video Game Nerd, and they're just clicking through this podcast
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just find this whole section about us trying to get a buffalo to diarrhea
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
in your ear and not understand there's an Angry Video Game Nerd or an AVGN theme song or any of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the nature of podcasts a lot of time is not very focused. It's kind of about just shoot the shit, talk about whatever you want. That's what we're doing, for this, because I thought about it before, like where, okay, are we going to concentrate on like movies, games? Like, is there going to be some kind of format? But it seemed like something that's more fun for all of us is just talk about anything that comes to your mind. And, but I do think about that a lot. I'm like, well, what would somebody think if they just listened to this and never heard of anything else? It'd be very bizarre. But I know my audience, so I think we know what people are interested in. So
There was a farm on Long Island when I was a kid called Schmidt's Farm.
okay,
And it was a pumpkin picking place. And it had like a theme song and everything. It was like, Schmidt's Farm is the place to be. Pumpkin picking for you and me.
Okay.
It was like this. And I could never say Schmitz as a kid. It was hard to say Schmidt, I think. Like when you're a kid and you're
without
learning how to
saying
talk.
shit? Okay,
yeah, without
yeah.
saying shits.
Yeah.
Schmidt. Like that's a real weird group of consonants to put together. S-C-H and M.
Schmidt, okay.
Schm.
Well, like baseball, the Phillies,
it's a name.
Mike
yeah,
Schmidt.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say it's a name. I knew people with the name. It's pretty common.
They were a
actually.
pretty cool place. I used to get my pumpkins from Schmidt's Farm as a kid.
Shit's Farm.
Schmidt's Farm.
Well, I guess now it's gonna be Shits. all the
Schmidt's
time,
Farm.
so.
I wonder if it's still around. And they're
Yeah.
probably like, thanks a lot, guys.
That's one of the first swears I think I learned actually.
shit.
Yeah, I was. My grandmother taught me it, and she taught me it on purpose too.
Yeah.
I mean, my grandmother was she was a little weird, She she took us to a farm one time, and the pigs, were shitting all over, and she was just like, oh, look at that, like that look at the pigs shit, like they roll in their shit, and she would just use it, and we started using it and just laughing, and I was pretty young at that time. I went home and I just started using it, like the word in front of my parents or anything.
Yeah.
And then they like were like, "What did you just say?" And then it was like, "Ooh," like I'd said something wrong, and it was like after that I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm not saying that anymore."
That's actually, it's kind of funny. That's the first word, first curse word I ever said was shit because of Back to the Future. Because
Oh,
Marty
you're gonna
goes,
see some
holy
serious-
shit. And
I actually, wow, I just showed the Back to the Future trilogy to my oldest daughter.
Yeah.
And I remember like, because now she's old enough. We're like, okay, those words, she understands not to use them. I showed her Jurassic Park, and there's
that is one big pile of shit. Yeah, yeah.
Or that part, she definitely got a laugh out of. But then once Back to the Future, she saw that, it's like, okay, she gets it. It's just a word, and like
my whole family, everybody always tells this story, but I used to run around as a kid with a Batman cape. My mom made me a Batman cape, and I used to just wear it constantly. It was a felt Batman cape she made from Fabric Bonanza. And I used to like
Fabric Bonanza.
yeah, it's kind of like Joanne Fabrics, but it was this place on Long Island called Fabric Bonanza. And you would go there and you'd buy your yards of fabric. So she made me a Batman cape. And I used to like swing the basement door open because our house had the basement was where everybody would sit and watch TV. That's where the entertainment center was and everything. And after I saw I used to watch Back to the Future. We had a taped copy of it, Back to the Future and Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
I had all 3 Back to the Futures recorded in SLP on one VHS tape.
Wow, that must have looked like shit.
Yeah, probably.
If you were to look back, I mean, I wish I had the tape to see, but anyway. So are you saying that you tried to be Batman?
No, I would just run around with the cape. But I used to want to be Batman. But
I want to know, has anyone ever actually tried to be Batman? I mean, like actually dress up and like go out and...
There is Ben Salem Batman in
really?
Ben Salem, PA.
And there was a guy who would drive around in like a really expensive car, like that's like the Batmobile, and go to like he was going to like charity things and children's hospitals. I think he might have died eventually.
Oh, really?
Is that you ever see that movie? It's called like what the hell? Confessions of a Superhero or whatever. It's about the people who hang out at the theater in California who all dress like superheroes. And they take pictures and everything.
Yeah,
and there was the Batman guy who got in a fight with somebody and got his ass kicked by like some dude.
Oh, jeez.
I remember it was in one of like in the 2020 like one of the riots or something where someone just showed up as Batman and all the footage is really awesome, but it's like under the circumstances. You know, it's like
I used to have a pretty sweet Batman mask. Like I had the Michael Keaton 89, like it went over your full head and had Velcro in the back. But eventually, the thing that was annoying about it was the nose is completely covered off, so I had to cut like a piece around so I could breathe because you couldn't breathe out of this mask. You were basically, when you would breathe, it would come out the eye holes.
Oh, okay.
So you were just constantly, air was hitting your eyes and you were like, trying to...
Well, I always had this idea for a movie, and like I was just, I never thought about it too deeply yet, but I was just asking about, if anybody's ever done it. Because in that case, it could be a documentary maybe, but I always thought about a movie about a guy who tries to be Batman for real and actually fight crime in the costume and everything.
You
and
ever
how
see
it would go.
Yeah, it's kind of like
actually a lot like Kick-Ass actually. But literally just like a very realistic take though. Just how would it actually go down if somebody tried to do what Batman does?
I know there was a guy in Seattle who was dressing up and doing stuff like that and doing vigilante stuff, and it didn't work out very well in the end, if I recall.
Oh, what was his name? Yeah, something. What the hell was his name? Something Phoenix or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to walk around with like bear mace.
Yeah, bear mace
and stuff. Bear mace, brah.
And he got like
South Park with.
He got like sued.
The bounty hunter.
But like going back to the curse word conversation, I think my first, it was either shit or fuck. I think it was fuck, and it was because I walked in on my parents. I walked in my parents watching Die Hard.
Okay.
And like Bruce Willis is in the like he drops his gun into the elevator, into the air vent, or he's in the elevator shaft or whatever. He's like shit or fuck. I think it's fuck.
Okay.
And I just went like fuck, and I was like 4 or something like that, and that didn't go very well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now I say fuck whenever I want.
Yeah, I know, right? Like that's the funny thing is like, don't say these words while you're a tiny boy, but you can say them when you're. I say fuck probably like I don't even know how many times I've said that word in my life, but it's definitely in the probably 100,000s to millions.
What I find that I probably said it more in the past 15 years making videos because it's just kind of like on camera it just becomes like a natural word. I mean, a lot of people find that interesting because lots of people watch from all around the world, and a lot of people who learn English, a lot of times they like to learn the slang, like the words that aren't proper, because it's just like it's a way to like study like how people talk and stuff. So a lot of times people would say to me like, "Hey, I your videos actually kind of helped me learn English."
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. But like no, there's a lot of people from all over from like Europe, Asia, who listen to American hip hop, and they learn how to talk from like all kinds of like swear words and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense because like I think America's a big country, and like like I think one of our biggest exports of our nation is the entertainment industry. Everything on the internet, everything like all the celebrities and all the movies, especially in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, like from the MCU on down. So, like I had a friend in Spain, I think, and they learned English from watching Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. Just put on subtitles and like figure it out. You know?
Yeah.
I worked at a Rosetta Stone kiosk back after college, selling the Rosetta Stone software.
That's like learn a language.
Yeah.
Stuff.
And I always thought it was like, why don't you guys release something where it teaches you slang and curses and things like that? Because I think that would honestly push this product over the edge where you're because the whole point is like, oh, you don't say fluent when you're selling it. You say you become conversational and you can speak it conversationally.
Yeah,
but I was like, they never teach you curse words and they never teach you this. And sometimes, some of the
because
languages,
obviously it's not proper. You wouldn't say it in like a situation where it's not like this, like us sitting at a table. Like if you were like in public, like of course that's why they don't. But
But I mean, if you want to learn a language, that's part of it. I still think like you should know how to curse in that language,
or know what they are.
And if someone's talking to you or something in that language, and they're like, so when I was a waiter, the kitchen would often call us like cabron, puta, pendejo, and things like that. And I was like, yo, I know what that fucking means, douchebag. Like, and they would be like, oh, like immediately. But it's like, they would say that to you. Like you'd be like, hey, I need like a burger on the fly. And they'd be like, okay, cabron. And then it would be like, okay, thanks. And no one would. And I was like, yeah, I know what that means. Like,
Adios, mio.
Don't call me those things, dude. And they would laugh about, I was friends with a lot of those guys, but.
It might be because I'm dumb. I lived in Tucson, Arizona for many years, and I took 6 years of Spanish from high school to college and stuff. I couldn't talk to you in Spanish right now. I just took the classes, man.
Yo, I understand a lot more Spanish than I speak. But,
well, same thing, but like I couldn't, like learning languages is a scam.
Yeah.
Again, I say that because I know, James, you learned a lot of Japanese because you're interested in it and the culture and all that stuff, and it's more of like a fun activity. But I think when you're looking at Rosetta Stone and all these softwares that are like Duolingo and all that, you'll learn the language, and I'm like, and then what? You go there and barely speak to people and look like an asshole?
I did Rosetta Stone because there was nothing to do at the kiosk other than do Rosetta Stone. So I ended up getting to level 4 of Spanish.
Yeah.
And I remember, I would just sit there and do it all day. And one time a girl came up and was like, does this work? And I was like, yeah, it works, I guess, if you use it. And she said, she spoke an entire line. She asked me how long I was working on it, how much Spanish I know, and all that stuff. And I was able to answer and understand exactly what she said. And she was like, holy shit, the second I said it. But the thing was, I realized that I was able to understand it the same way you understand English, where you don't translate in your head. You hear what is being said and you just know what it says.
Right.
So that was the same way. Rosetta Stone doesn't translate it. It just shows pictures.
That's the fucking scam. That's what you do. If you're a Rosetta Stone or one of those things you set up in the mall or whatever, you have people who are already fluently bilingual sit there and be like, oh, did you learn German or whatever? And they're just like, yeah, of course, from this software. And
it's more impressive for like a white guy like me to answer back in Spanish the way it was. That's the thing, was they were like, holy shit, this white boy just spoke to me and understood everything I said. That's more impressive than if I was like,
right.
Like, because we had one guy who spoke fluent Hindi and he used to do that, but he was from India. It was this guy, Sam, that we worked with, and everyone was like, really? You used Rosetta Stone to learn Hindi? Or are you from India? You literally are from India.
It's a good way to learn, actually. I used to edit videos in Spanish, and I had a coworker who's Hispanic, and he would check it off for me and everything, make sure I got it right. I mean, I wasn't doing the voiceover, but he did the voiceover, but then I would have to edit it together to match the script, and I'd have 2 versions of the script, one in English and one in Spanish. And as you go through and as you're editing the video together, you would just look for sometimes you'd start to notice more words repeated, and you'd start building up your vocabulary as you're going. If I were to keep doing that, like if I was still editing those videos, I think I would learn a lot, because I've tried to learn Spanish too. But like with any language or anything, I usually if you don't have time to stay at it and be consistent, it doesn't really stick.
The other thing too, though, Spanish is not the same in every Spanish speaking. Like Spain is different.
There's a lot of slang.
Central America, and then I had a lot of friends. My roommates and stuff are all from Puerto Rico. It's different.
Yeah,
completely.
It is.
The way people in Puerto Rico speak Spanish compared to the way people speak Spanish in Venezuela or Spain is like 3 different languages. It's kind of almost the same as the way people speak English here and people speak English in England. We don't say lift, we say elevator, or like chips and fries and all that
like
kind of shit.
throw the rubbish in the bin.
Exactly. Yeah. There's like a whole bunch of different words that, and also just the way it's spoken, especially like in Puerto Rico. There's a lot of random English words just mixed on in there and stuff.
A little Spanglish.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I listen to a lot of bands from Europe, from Sweden, Finland, and most bands, they sing in English, and you would never know.
Yeah.
Like Ghost was from Sweden.
Yeah.
And I always wondered, like, why don't they sing it all in their native language? Because it'd be more interesting. Like Rammstein, they're, I think, they're like the only German metal band I know of, because like there's the Scorpions. They're they sing English.
Are they from Germany?
Yeah,
I always wondered.
So you never know because
it's a few reasons. One, they're super inspired by American bands where metal like really took off there in England, of course.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when people in England sing, they usually lose their accents usually to a degree, like they sound more American.
I mean, even like Ace of Base is from Sweden, and they sound.
And it's also, that's a very unifying language in Europe, so you sell more records because then you'll sell records to Europe and America.
Because I never knew the reason why I know about that the Scorpions are from somewhere in Europe is because I have the live album.
Okay.
It was like Scorpions in California or Scorpions Live or something, and. When he's just speaking normal to the crowd, and he's like, "Hello, California," and he pronounces California as like California, and it's very
California
obvious.
is kind of a tricky because there's so many ways people say it.
But no one, you don't sit there and go like, "I'm going to California." Like no one in America, I feel like pronounces every syllable of California.
Yeah, what do I say? I said California.
Yeah,
I guess that's
California.
California. Yeah, I'm Jimmy from The Wizard.
Yeah.
I am Jimmy. When it comes to languages, I think after all these years, I've found what 2 things. It's like, how do I learn best? I learn best from reading, actually, not from hearing it, but to read, because then you can kind of read it again and again at your own pace, and then also, what would I use the most? What would be most useful? And that's how I came to Japanese. I mean, the first time I tried Japanese, I was like 15, because I was watching a lot of movies in Japanese, like Godzilla, and I'd always wonder, well, how cool would it be to not have to read the subtitles and just know it?
And that's interesting because you're learning Japanese to do Japanese movies, but not anime.
No, well, now it's different. Back then, I was trying it with like, learning just the verbal language, actually just hearing. I was trying to learn it to hear it, right? Now I'm trying to learn it to read it. So instead of my approach to Japanese now, I know very little, but in the overall, I mean, I know more than most Americans would, but I know very little as far as like, I'm probably at like a kindergarten level Japanese. But I'm starting with the text. So I skipped over Romeiji, and or how it's pronounced, Romeiji, because it's basically like that is the English text.
Yeah.
So I'm reading it in an actual Japanese, type.
Romanji, right? Like where it's like spelled out in English.
Romeiji's when it's spelled out usually using like our alphabet.
Yeah.
You're doing the katakana now?
Yeah, katakana, hiragana, I have those all memorized, so I can sound out anything that's written in hiragana or katakana. There's more of a chance of me understanding what it is I'm saying if it's katakana, because that katakana uses a lot of foreign words, foreign to Japanese.
Yeah.
So hiragana, it doesn't. I can sound them out. I can say the words, but I don't know what a lot of them mean yet. So that's where I'm working on is my vocabulary. When it comes to kanji, however, and kanji is also in China, so I kind of get 2 for 1, and that's it's a little different, but a lot of the meanings are the same. I've been finding kanji. I have about 520 characters memorized, and when you know kanji, there's a good chance I'll kind of know what this is about that I'm reading, because I'll be able to pick up what this character means or something.
Right.
So that kanji, believe it or not, like it's the most daunting because there's so many characters to know.
Yeah.
I mean, like thousands. But going with the most common ones, it's almost picture based. I mean, not exactly, but I kind of think of it like a very, very ancient form of like emojis almost. You can because emojis is almost becoming like a new language in a way.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you put a bunch of symbols together and it means something. So it's really interesting when you look back at that and how human language has like evolved over the years. So kanji has taught me a lot about just language in general. So I really love the kanji part the most, surprisingly, even though it's the most daunting. But yeah, like where I'm at now, I just need to work on more like vocabulary and learning more about the grammar as well. But if you write me something in hiragana or katakana, I can at least sound it out.
Yeah, notice like with friends I have in Japan or otherwise, if I even attempt to talk to them in Japanese, they're like, "Listen, we're trying to practice our English on you."
Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
and I know people who go to like Germany and stuff a lot,
Yeah.
like like Ryan from Cinemassacre, his family's all from Germany and like Bavaria and stuff. And if they go there and try and start speaking German at a restaurant, like ordering something, they'll just say nah and give you the English menu and talk to you. And they're like, "Our English is better than your German. Don't worry about it." You know?
Yeah.
So for me, it's kind of like, why learn anything? I don't know. I know that's sad.
Especially nowadays,
Well,
Google
I think,
Translate and everything is out.
Yeah.
We don't need to.
Well, what's great is like I could play a video game that's in Japanese.
That's cool.
And I could be like, that says continue, that says mode, that, like I'll be able to kind of know a little bit about like how to play the game, because, a lot of times you'll play a game, it's like Famicom or something, and it's like, and you just see all this text and you're like, well, what do I select? So that actually,
Especially
that's
like
when
RPGs and stuff, you
yeah.
can't even,
RPGs for
attempt
sure.
most of the time.
And that's why I pick Japanese, because there's more of a chance of me encountering Japanese
That makes
to
sense.
read.
Yeah.
I mean, because to speak in another language, like you're saying, it's such a rare opportunity. And it happens so rare that I'm never going to really be able to learn that. And not in a long, long time. So reading it has been more useful for me.
Yeah, especially learning at your own pace and just figuring it out.
Like a lot of times, like a game will have an instruction manual or something, and like it's all in Japanese. So sometimes that really helps. So I'm really interested in reading manga like in Japanese and trying to see how much I could learn. Because every time I try, then I learn a little bit more, just a little bit each time. So watching, what I'd really love is more movies with Japanese subtitles, because that's hard to find. It's hard because usually you'd find it in English subtitles. But if I could find one, like I don't even care, even if it's a movie that's in English but has Japanese subtitles.
That might actually help even more too, is if it's a movie in English where you already know what's being said.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
You're reading it,
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Are you guys ready for the fan Q&A?
Sure.
Yeah.
So from now on, even though in the first other podcast episodes I was pulling these from Reddit and Facebook and YouTube and all sorts of places, now I'm only pulling them from my Twitter because it's easier. There's way too many places to source from.
Okay.
And I got way too many answers, so I'm just pulling them from my Twitter now.
Wow. That sounds like a lot of time. Yeah, for sure.
So this one right here, this is from Ethan Carter at Gibberish Kid. Ethan Carter, Gibberish Kid. My question for James, gun to your head, Iron Maiden or Judas Priest?
Oh, starts with gun to your head. Oh my God. Well, I mean, Judas Priest. Yeah.
He didn't put a gun to our head, but I'm gonna have to say Maiden.
Okay.
Sorry, I get it, but I get it.
Yeah.
Either one for me.
Both is the correct answer, but yeah.
Come on.
Gun to my head, shoot me. Just fucking shoot me. It doesn't matter.
We got to talk about favorite bands soon, too.
Yeah, well, I was going to make that its own entire episode because that's going to take up a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
All right, so this is, remember when I said I was pulling things from Twitter only? I lied.
Oh,
I
shit.
lied.
This is the last question I'll
Was
pull.
that a movie? Commando?
Commando,
Yeah.
This is the last one I'll pull from
You're a
Reddit.
funny guy. What was his name?
What's that?
Fuck, what the hell? You're a funny guy.
Sully.
Sully.
That's why I'm going to kill you
You
last.
fucking
blah, blah, blah.
whore. That's him.
Yeah, that's him.
Fucking
Sully.
You're a funny guy, Sully.
Remember, Sally, when I promised to kill you last?
That's right, Major. You did.
I lied.
You fucking whore.
Yeah, anyway, so this one's from Reddit, from Harry the Hunter 64. AVGN question. Why is the theme song not used as often anymore? Does it have to do with the demonetization of the lyrics?
No, we use it a lot, though, actually, don't we?
In 2021, not so much. I
not
would
as
just
much.
do
Oh,
like
okay.
easy angry and then like
Yeah,
just like the
yeah.
thumbnail just to get right into it.
I guess we'll ask a question back. Do you want to hear it more? If you want to, then cool. Yeah, let's put it in some more. But I feel like I've heard it a lot. I feel like it is in the
Yeah.
episodes.
Well,
we've done covers too.
I feel like it's been you. So I feel like
Yeah.
people have been saying that forever, especially as like
Uh-huh.
someone who has been watching as long as I have. Even in the Akari Warriors episode, I think it was
Mm-hmm.
where Kyle actually says like, "You don't even use my theme song as much
Oh, yeah,
anymore,"
yeah.
and it's like, or was it
Which was just
Battletoads?
that
It might have been Battletoads. I can't remember
Oh,
which
yeah,
one.
it was Battletoads.
Or wait,
I think.
ABBA is
Yeah.
where you
I think-
resurrect him, right?
Yeah,
He's like
Akari
skeleton.
Warriors. Yeah. That was kind of just like, a joke.
Yeah,
Just like,
but I think like they brought it up at like that's been a thing that has been said forever, and I feel like
Yeah.
it is and it isn't, but it is.
You know what? I mean, because the only perspective I can give outside of it, because since it's my own show, it's hard for me to figure out, like, is this getting tiresome to hear it at the beginning of every single one? The only perspective I can give is to think of other shows I've seen, and like off the top of my head, the one show that I think they have to do something different is Family Guy, because it begins with the same theme every single time, and every time I've seen it, I'm like, oh, I gotta just fast forward because I'm so sick of hearing that.
Yeah, that's why I like most streaming things have it where you can skip the intros or whatever most of the time. Because sometimes it like there are certain ones like South Park, for instance, change their intro throughout like the whole series, and Simpsons always has the couch gag. So it's like I always like to see.
But Simpsons
there's
is
no
fun
fucking-
because the one, I mean, even though I haven't seen a lot, like I know that the chalkboard is different every time.
Exactly,
so-
there's different things in it.
Yeah.
And it helps that there's no lyrics.
Yeah, that's true
true,
too.
yeah.
It's just a recognizable theme.
Like in the what episode was it? The Pac-Man 2 episode. I used the ska version of the theme song.
I like that. Yeah.
Just because I was talking to those guys about doing some other music for us, and I was like, you know what? And they're like, hey, we did an AVGN theme. I'm like, oh, really? I'll just put it in here.
Which
Thanks.
which you every time like we do the ska theme, I'm always like, what's it called?
yeah.
I never had to knock on wood, and I
Yeah.
always put
Oh,
knock
okay.
on wood into everything that's ska
Oh, okay.
related.
Hey, is that Real Big Fish or Mighty Mighty Boss Tones? Because they're the same band,
Yeah,
right?
I think
Pretty
it's
much?
Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always get them.
That's
in,
the impression
what is
that
it?
I get, yeah.
Who does Superman?
Goldfinger.
Those two songs are like the main ska songs I know, and then maybe the Kablam theme song from Nickelodeon.
Right.
all.
But to answer your question, yeah, YouTube really cracked down on cursing in the first 30 seconds, minute of the
Yeah.
video. And unfortunately, the theme song has shitty game, suck ass,
Which,
all this
yeah.
other kind of stuff. So I usually, if
Within
I do, if
5 seconds,
if
basically.
if I do put it in, I put it in like after a minute long brand deal or something like that.
You know what's BS?
Yeah.
Yeah. That
That
fucking sucks.
That sucks. We had to
Well,
do that.
that's
yeah.
the thing that's like stupid. I mean, I guess we
I
can't
mean, it's
really
okay,
like.
but
people
it's,
don't. The thing people don't understand is if a video gets a copyright strike or gets demonetized or limited ads, it kills it getting sent
Yeah.
out to subscribers. It kills it getting sent out. So a lot of the AVGN episodes that didn't really pull a lot of views right off the bat
Yeah.
were limited ads or got killed. Or even Rex Viper gets claimed immediately as a cover song.
You-
and
Well,
doesn't get pushed
under-
out as much.
Yeah, I mean that's understandable since we're covering
Yeah.
songs. But
So
yeah.
You got to think of
You
the
have to-
YouTube.
I do like how they do the revenue share with that because that's smart. That's
Yeah.
a smart thing to do. It's not like, hey, we're just gonna take down your video. Remember the old days? It'd
Like
be
how Nintendo was, where you play a Nintendo game no matter who owns it.
The copyright stuff has been getting a lot better, but the cursing stuff isn't.
So what you have to
like for
think
example, you said the C word in the Carmageddon video, which killed that video.
Yeah.
And we were like, really? And I was like talking to YouTube. I'm like, hey, guys.
What about YouTube
which actually-
UK? Because it's such a common word in the UK.
That's what I don't understand too. Is it's the same thing as saying like,
as long as you don't use the word in a hateful way, like if it's not like directed towards someone.
And that's what I said. You were just bringing it up because of cunning stunts, the Metallica VHS tape, the tour video. But
you have to think of the YouTube, AI algorithm, whatever, as Skynet, but it's a really lame version of Skynet. Instead of nuking the world, it just takes your money.
Oh, so it's Skynet. It's Skynet from what was it?
Genesis. Yeah, it's Genesis. It's Terminator Genesis, but
Genesis.
They take all your money. Yeah, Genesis.
So to answer your question, it's a mix of, do people want to hear it a ton? Because if it was in every episode, it might get annoying, and because of YouTube in general.
So there's a lot of reasons then, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely probably be an episode 200. But
that definitely helps that with covers. I mean, for sure. We'll have to think of some different options there. But I'm usually a fan of the video starting as quickly as we can, because especially when it has the brand deal at the front too. I like to get into the video as quick as we can.
All right, there's final question here. This is from John Bob. Sorry, he has like umlaut. What do we call those things? Like where there's like a slice through the zero.
Oh, is it
the O?
I don't know.
June Boob.
Is it the S one? Like,
no, it's that O with the slice in it.
John Bob, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, John.
Sorry, we don't know. Sorry, we don't know how to say your name there.
John Bob.
John Bob is platinuming Spider-Man. Good game.
Platinuming Spider-Man?
Yeah.
I'm about to do that too, actually.
Is platinuming Spider-Man?
Yeah,
like
because
platinum trophies.
I only need 2 more trophies on PlayStation to have everything in Spider-Man.
All right.
Oh God, this is a long.
Really good.
It's a long question. And that's at that dude from WA from Washington, I guess. This is for Justin and Kieran. Maybe I'll think of something for James, but I guess he never did.
Oh, wow.
How did you guys become involved with James and Cinemassacre? Had you worked on anything similar in the past, or was this a first?
I've known you guys for so long now where it's just a blur to me.
Yeah,
So
I guess we met somewhere in the 2007, 8, 9 range.
Yeah, you met...
I met James because he put a video into the film festival we were running at Rutgers Camden, the New Century Cinema Film Festival, which only had... It was his first annual and last annual.
And was it Dead or the Better, right?
Yeah, Dead or the Better one, yeah.
Oh, I appreciate it too, by the way.
And...
I remember I was like... Wait, somebody's interested in this? Like,
yeah, because you were at film school in Philadelphia. I was at film school at Rutgers across the river in Camden, 2 separate cities. I was over there, you were over there. When you were a senior, I was a freshman, I believe. Something like that.
Maybe. Hard to say.
Yeah, because I graduated in 2007 from college. So then I reached out to you for that because I think I just watched episode 5 of AVGN Ninja Turtles. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. And then looked into all your back stuff, sent you a message, you sent in the video, you won the thing. And then eventually I started doing the show Underbelly that was on Screw Attack. And they were like, oh, you live near Philly, just where James is. I'm like, oh, I know James. And then we went over and borrowed some props and just shot the shit a bunch of times. Fast forward, I was now staff at Too Many Games. I did the roast of the Angry Video Game Nerd for another channel that I did is now dead. I have many of those, including this one. Yes, and then and then I started working at Screenwave Media 2015, and then I started working on nerd stuff in 2017. So that's kind of just working on YouTube stuff for 10 years, on and off until I got a job doing YouTube stuff.
I graduated in 2010 from the Art Institute in Philadelphia. One of the last things we had to do was they needed people to volunteer at Wizard World for our school, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it," because they were like, "Oh, you get a free weekend pass, you get all," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." So I volunteered for 8 o'clock on a Friday night, which was the last slot on Friday, which meant I got to go to Wizard World all weekend, and all I had to do was sit for a half an hour on the first day of it. I met Justin and Newt. Actually, I met you guys that back when they were doing Underbelly. I was like, hey, I know you guys from Screw Attack. And
Yeah, so I was a fan of James, and you were a fan of us.
I was a fan of James too at the time. I was watching all you guys. Well, You're
watching everything on Screw
I
Attack.
used to do fan art on Screw Attack. I was featured on the very first ever G1 Spotlight with by Jose El Mexicano, if he still is on the internet.
I loved
anywhere.
it. Jose's Puntos. I love Jose.
Jose's Puntos.
Yeah.
Him and one of the other guys talked about I did Contra, and I did art for what's it called, the Bionic Commando. I did like fan art, and they featured me, and I was trying to get into that, and I went to Wizard World. I met everybody there, and then about a year later, I was working just whatever dead end jobs I could get out of college because no one was hiring animators in 2010 because we were in a economic recession. So I was working at the King of Prussia Mall for a while, and then eventually I started doing a public access television show in Philadelphia. Went to too many games, and I re-met everybody. I stood in line to get your autograph on my Sega Genesis, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Back in 2010, yeah. I didn't know anybody back then. I knew Justin, that was about it.
That's funny because I don't remember him.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, I was in line with about like 1,000 people, and I should see if I could find that picture, actually. It would be really funny because it was me, you, Mike, and a bunch of my other friends at the time. And
it's funny, there's a lot of people that I know now who at one point got an autograph.
No, it's weird. I never thought at that time that I would, and then, time went on. I was working on public access. I worked on Justin's Dead channel. Then I started doing just whatever to, I was working at a video store in Northeast Pennsylvania that sold it sold movies for mom and dad, you might say.
Video store with a smile on your face.
You can say you worked at a porn store.
I worked at a porn store in Philadelphia for a year or two, which was actually a very poignant porn store, surprisingly. They were where the AVN Awards, which is like the Oscars of porn, it was started in that store by the people who ran it. And I worked with the guy's dad, Len. Me and him became good friends. He believed in me and helped me out, and eventually, Justin called me up and said, hey, we need people to work on the Angry Video Game Nerd who aren't scary. And and
then we found you.
And they found me.
I understand what you mean.
I'm
it's
pretty
like,
scary.
There's a lot of people who would love to help out. There's like when you go to somebody who you don't know, it's a very hard thing to do. It's hard to just get somebody who you're not familiar with, because there's just so many people out there that you just don't know. Like sometimes if somebody could be, I don't know, weird in some kind of way. Like where, I don't know. Meaning like stalkerish or something.
Exactly.
Like,
and I wasn't that, I guess, to a high degree at least. But so that's how I started working. And then I got the job at, I've been working at Screenwave since I think 2016. I was freelancing in 2016.
I remember we wanted somebody to help who knew about wrestling.
That was the main thing. Was everybody was like, "Hey, you watched basically every nerd episode, and you also I literally from that point on, from like about 2010 on, I had seen every single pay-per-view and WWE Raw and SmackDown for like legit 10 straight years. I never missed an episode.
Yeah, because
it was like the one thing I watched all the time. So and I also watched wrestling all throughout. Like I was a kid, so I knew wrestling better than anyone at the time. And the games and things like that. So they brought me in during the wrestling, and I also worked I did a few things other than that. Like I recorded some fatalities for when you did Sub-Zero.
I was like, Super get me some fatalities.
I think we've talked about that on here.
Yeah, that was the first ever thing I ever did. Was I recorded about because I know in Mortal Kombat 2, I know like everybody's fatality. In Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, I know almost every single fatality by heart. It's weird. It's just something I always remembered as a kid. Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat are two things I know all the codes to and stuff. So that was why they brought me in. And then I impressed somebody, I suppose. And
you're still here.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm in the same denim vest I've been in for 3 years now. I actually have changed vests. My original vest is in the kitchen right now.
Oh, okay.
Hanging up. It smells.
Oh my God. Get it out of the kitchen.
Yeah. It's funny, like sometimes in the nerd episodes, I think think it's the Bugs Bunny episode. I forget which one, but like I open up a closet and there's all these nerd shirts.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually do have all these nerd shirts, and they're all in different states of like, deterioration. Like there's like the one that's sleeveless that we used for the wrestling one.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's so badly stained that it makes me wonder, like, what did we do in that episode?
Oh, you dumped a bunch of beer on yourself. That's what it was. Because you smashed the beers together and drank them like stone cold.
Yeah, I remember that, but I don't remember like how beer would destroy a shirt as much as it did.
Yeah,
but anyway,
it was shitty beer.
It was like, I think it was Coors Light we used. We didn't use, or no, did we use, or we didn't use Rolling Rock. I think we used Coors Light because of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I don't
And
remember.
then people were like, should have been Rolling Rock.
Oh, okay.
And we were like, damn it, it should have been. I
Hey,
guess.
two
should've
bottles,
been.
smash.
Yeah.
That's funny because I don't think I've ever chugged 2 beers at the same time
At once
like that.
until that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, you showed me the clip of, like, how he does it, and I was like, all right, I'll see what I can do. As I recall, we did one take of it, and thankfully it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because beer was everywhere, and we had to put
Yeah.
a tarp down and everything. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have went right into the electricity and fried the room, probably.
Well, I know one of your nerd shirts that's not stains. The one with all the fucking buttons on it.
Oh, God.
Oh, that fucking shirt, James.
Which one?
The one in Rocketeer where you were going off about it.
Oh, the one that I wear in the whole episode?
Yeah, because people don't like the button shirt, but I'm like,
well,
oh,
some
whatever.
people do. I mean, a lot of people like it, but
Yeah.
it's just funny. Like it was a really funny thing to just riff on. But yeah, I mean, I'm still gonna wear the shirt that I'm wearing for the 2020s until I feel like changing it again. So that's all it is. The shirt at the end of the video was just a joke.
That's
I know.
Totally a joke. But I guess let's wrap this up.
All right.
All right.
We're wrapping.
I
We wrapped
guess
it up.
that's it. There we go.
All right, there we go.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Cinemassacre Podcast. See you next Tuesday. Check out more episodes at cinemassacre.com or wherever you fill up your ear holes with podcasts. Remember to like this episode, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment below. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Drinks are on you.